Let's journal with our junk. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. This is a place where we can come and relax and breathe, take a moment, book in the time for ourselves and just have that little chance to reconnect with our own creativity and it to be a personal journey and opening some pages and just looking at what we can achieve. For some, it may be to write lots of notes about what's happening for you at the moment, whether you're about to plan something fun or whether you want to tell the story of something that you've done. But not all of us want to write. Not all of us connect in with the written word. Some of us like to express ourselves in a very creative, very different way. I enjoy the relaxation of the craft of putting something together, building something from nothing using scraps, things from our lives, things from the everyday, things that we would otherwise find in the recycling bin or that they've come through the door, or we have collected them from a charity shop or a junk shop, or somebody's given us some stuff and we don't quite know what to do with it. Old magazines that have been read and now sitting forlorn around the place that are just gathering dust or becoming clutter. All of these things are perfect to grab for the wonderful excitement that is junk journaling, using the scraps of our everyday, things that we can find that we're not really sure sometimes what to do with, but maybe they're a piece of packaging or they have been sent to us by a friend, or it's a greeting card that is lovely, but now that time has passed, you've had the birthday, but you're still left with the beautiful card with the image on it that you really enjoyed, and it was lovely to put it up on the shelf for that period of time, but now you need to clear away because the next event is on the horizon. And here you can see I've just been using absolute scraps that I have been sent from swap partners, that I am involved in a group with 9 of us in the UK and we swap periodically. So every month I receive some happy mail from one of the wonderful girls in the swap group here at the Treasured Page. And from all of those things, I am now looking to create something that's fun for me to put in my journal. So this is what I'm calling a signature keeper. It's designed in a TN style with the elastic in here, and I've got 2 sections, 2 elasticated portions. And what I'm doing here is I'm building up the signature. A signature, if you're new to bookmaking or creating your own junk journal, is a selection of papers that, when put together like this, create a section of the book. So this is one section which we call a signature. It is made out at the moment of 5 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th one here, which is the pocket that's been created for me. So that is going to be in the centre and sewn in. We'll be hiding the binding in this pocket, which we'll glue down eventually. So we will be sewing all of that into a book. Now, if you're following along and you would like to build a journal, we are creating the first signature. This is what I've been doing. That is essentially the first signature. We've got more to do. It's going to be chunky, but by doing it this way, we can gauge how big it's going to be. We can adapt it and try and reduce some of the bulk as we go. And ultimately, this way is a nice controlled way to see exactly what your journal's going to be like, what you want from it, and you will be able to take out pages if you think that it's getting too big, too chunky, and if you enjoy adding the things in, if you enjoy making the pockets and the folds and the tucks and the interesting little pieces that you can have in a journal that just bring it to life and help it to be interactive, then you can add more or less as you go. So this could be bound and be one journal. You could have it for the spring next year. You are making something that is going to be for next year. So we are way ahead of the game. You just make the journals work for you. If you like writing space, if you want to sit and snuggle up, curl up and write what's going on for you to help you process your thoughts, then you could do this. You could leave more writing space for you so that you have got that option. You can create the tuck spots to be able to put in information on cards that you want to keep as memory anchors. So you might want to talk about something that you did, something that's important or you want to remember, and then that can be put into a special place here. Everything is kept in one book and you just know where you are. It could be a really good organisational place for you. The junk journals can be adapted to anything that you want, however you work. If you're a planner, if you love to see what's on the horizon, then you could create something that gives you that daily plan. You could write in the month, the days, the weeks, and you could see what's ahead. You can have pockets and little extra places for you to put your goals and wishes and things that you're trying to achieve. Perhaps you want to keep a tracker of something to help your well-being. Perhaps it's exercise or it's a diet that you're following, something that you could keep a track of, and maybe that's personal and you don't want people to find it, so that gets hidden away. You know, you could have a little secret bit where you keep the details only for you. If you're monitoring something and it really is not for general viewing, then little things like these are perfect. So you can make this work for your life. That's why it's wonderful to come and sit here and have a play. It allows you to process what's going on in the day. It allows you to settle down and give yourself some time for you. So here we go. I have got the corner of an envelope and it has been sent to me by one of the girls. It's Joanna on the swap, and I had just torn off the corner of one of her envelopes, one of the parcels that she sent, and I think that that's just going to be great to come and live in the journal as an extra tuck. It can be as simple as that, and we just stick it down, embellish it with this scrap that I was also sent from the central pocket here, and it is a very, very quick, simple way to provide a tuck. So I am only allowed to use what I've been sent. I've got a bag of little bits here which I will pull from, and I've also got the option to pull pages out and work on them like that. So that just makes life easier for me if I can get at the pages. Okay, so we're having a play with some ink. I'm going to use this ink. It's a distressed ink from Ranger. It's the Tim Holtz Weathered Wood Distressed Oxide. I've got a makeup brush here, and I've got this stencil here. It's a little bit scruffy. It wants a wash, but we're just going to go with it. So there are no mistakes in junk journaling. You are playing with scraps and with junk. Okay, so I am just going to work around some of the leaf shapes here on this stencil. Just have a look, that's quite fun. There's a little bit of brown ink from something before coming there. I'm just going to just want a little hint at some leaves. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's really pretty. It almost looks a bit like it's a bamboo, so I like that. We'll carry that on. All right, so that was a little ink technique there, and then when this flips out, we've got a nice bordered edge and writing space. And this is quite fun here because I think when you collect ephemera, when you go somewhere, when you're perhaps on your travels and you maybe collect some stamps or you collect something, a ticket perhaps, you can stick them here, and that could be on this belly band. It could be that you decorate it with what you find when you're on your travels. So it's something for the future. So I am not saying that this is done because I will be using it in the future. And it might be that I want to put some travel tickets or something down the side there, and then that is tucked away and we still have a beautiful treasured page, but we could also keep some modern day ephemera there tucked and hidden, and then a little description about what it was that I did. So perhaps that could be an an outing or something that I did with my family I might like to document, but ultimately it's a little bit tucked away. So going over, it's quite nice to do a double page spread before you bind or sew it in. And what's quite fun is to use a napkin or a tissue paper or something to decorate your page with. It's a very quick, simple way of doing things. And in the bag, I have, I believe, been given a napkin or a little tissue. I've got one here. I think it had tulips on it. Oh, that's poppies. I'd like to use the poppy one later on for the summer portion of the journal. But here I've got tulips. Now, tulips always remind me of spring and daffodils as well. But this is a pink page. These are lovely pink colours on a background here, of which is pink. And I thought, these are facial tissues or hand tissues. These are very small, so it's not a napkin that you would have at lunch. This is something that you would put in for cosmetics into your handbag. And I think that I could have this going along here and then carry it on with what I've got up there. So again, what I need to do is just squash down the dimples here with something, like I'm using a paintbrush, but it could be a bone folder, and then we just release all three of these. Oh, this is even a 4-ply. Oh my goodness, wow, look, four ply. They're usually 3-ply, but this one has given us more tissue paper. That's great. So we can put glue over this on a plastic surface, be able to peel it off and give ourselves the semi-translucent material to work with. So we'll have a look at that. That works well with a Mod Podge or a watered down PVA. And then using the idea of just moistening the tissue with a wet water pen, I'm just going to draw a line with the water. So these are just, this is a very old one, excuse it's covered in paint, but you fill, so you open it up, you untwist it, you fill up the little bottle there with water, and then you've got a nice a wet brush that you can dip into paints for a very quick, easy watercolour. Or I use it with the ink pads as well, water-soluble ones. There we go. So I'm going to take those. So now I've got 2 panels to work with. So we'll just put one aside for the moment and have a look at what this might look like. I could bring it down a little bit, which would be probably better. Draw another line now and separate them even more. And I'll pull that off. And we're creating a frieze, to make a border. We can always cover it up with a pocket or something else. We're just decorating our paper at this point. So what I'm doing is just putting down some matte medium. This could be PVA glue. Mod Podge works brilliantly. Just use what you have. This is an adhesive. Matte medium is an adhesive for collage, and it is water resistant, so it's not going to peel off, and it should do very nicely at sealing anything down. For archival purposes, matte medium is really good. And then we just paint over the top of it as we've seen before. Got a bit here that's sort of pulled away, but it hasn't detracted from the pictures, so I've pulled it away a bit more there, just because it's quite nice to have the age effect. We'll probably go over it with some ink and emphasise some of the crinkles and the creases, and then it's just a bit of an aged piece. And just paste it down. Okay, so that's phase 1. We'll just pull that away like that. I'm just going to leave that to dry over by the window there. Okay, so I've got a corner of an envelope here. This started life as just a junk mail envelope that's come through the door, and it has been decorated up with some paints, splodges, some ink and some stamping here by the swap partner that sent it to me. So that was Joanna. And these are envelopes that I've got where I have used them to either mop up, or they have been put in the end of a dye bath, so they've sort of got some colour but not much. And then they will probably have a secondary dye, and over the time they will end up with lots of different colours on them. And the longer that these hang around near wherever I do some dyeing, the more colour and extra grungy bits that they're going to get on them, more stains, because I just use them to mop up spills, and then over the time I end up with corners of paper that I can tear and use. For this one, we've just got the corner. We could have a double pocket, but to reduce bulk, and because in the interest of using up all the scraps that I can get my hands on, I'm going to cut this down and just use one side of it so that I reduce the bulk in the journal. That's quite fun as well, to maybe have something that flips. You can play about with this and maybe cover that with something, collage it. Maybe that's something that flips down in the journal. Or we stick that and then we've got a flip down and a pocket. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep things relatively simple for this one, because I do like to have pockets to tuck things, and I think what I'll do is I'll use that as an embellished bit at the bottom. Alright, so that's an idea. They're quite grungy. What I could do is see what else I've got here. I've got these grungy doilies as well. I've got to think of something here. I might paint them again. So doilies are interesting when they're wrapped around. That always adds something, I think, as a decoration. So we've got that to play with. We've got these. These are the journaling cards that I've been sent. They're as artist trading cards from Swap Partners. So I've got these. So they could come and live on here. They look fun, don't they? I'm going to, those are my focal pieces on top of something that is just a grunge background. So that's excellent. I'm going to carry on with this oxide ink again. So that is weathered wood. And I'll just ink around this one here. All right, I've got quite a bit of this brown fabric, and it's perfect for just a hinge piece, something that's going to be hidden away anyway. So I'm going to take that and just create a bit of a rough edge, and then I'll do a bit of a wider bit there like that, and then we'll have one more for over here. Okay. And the same on this one as well. Add in the pieces just so that they catch on that edge. Cut it down. The more you tear the fabric, the more fray you get, which is interesting. So that goes there. And what's really nice on this little scrap, I've just seen through to the textbook. So this is a book page, and it says here Baker Street. So Baker Street is in London. It just caught my eye. So recently on television I've been watching Sherlock Holmes, something that came out ages ago with and that's the Martin Freeman one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and we've been watching that series again. I've seen it before, forgotten it, thought it was brilliant, wanted to show the children, and I've just seen Baker Street pop out on this text behind, and when I turn it over it says Holmes. Oh my goodness, that's one of those serendipity moments. And having a look here, I can see, where did I see it? Having a look here, I can just about make out the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. How brilliant was that? So I've just been watching it, and there it is on that was sent to me, and Marie, lady from Cornwall who sent it to me, has absolutely no idea what I've been watching in the evenings. Just one of those little things. Okay, so this is going to go down here, and it could just be a nice little strip like washi tape. It could even be a tuck, so I'll just put glue on 3 sides and see what it looks like as a tuck. It's going to go down there as a tuck now. All right, so I've put the glue in there, and now we just pull that over. Okay, I'm just using some art glitter glue. I've managed to unclog it, so we seem to be working for the moment. And I'm just going to glue this down entirely on the top. So this is not a tuck. This is just acting like a little piece of washi tape or some embellishment up the top there, just to give us a bit of interest. Okay, I've got a little bit of ribbon here, which is in a similar colour tone to what's in this card with the lady on it. I'm going to use my Yoo-Hoo glue, and that's because anything else that I've got is going to seep through on this ribbon. And Yoo-Hoo glue says it can stick fabric, which is fine. I don't think it'll last the test of time, but we could put a bit of sewing across that. Let's just stick it down just for the colour. Just for the pop of colour and the texture, then that's going to go there. Well, that's all right, isn't it? And I'm now using the silicone glue for the fabric because that's going to be a hinge piece. It needs to open. We don't want it pulling off. Okay, with this, we just leave it a little bit and then it doesn't seep through. I'll just push that down. And then we can see, and that's pretty good. Okay, just thinking about it, I'm going to add a little dip in the top here as well, because that just makes it look like it could come and be somewhere where we keep a tag. I'm going to stick this all down. I've gone all the way around now with the glue for something like a bookmark or a tag with a little dip at the top there. That's really nice. That just seals it in, and then we've got a little pocket there, and then perhaps one of these cards can come and live in there that I've been given. So for a tuck, we're just gluing on 2 sides, whereas the pocket wanted 3 sides, and we'll just add that here onto this corner. Okay, so this is lovely. This is showcasing the 2 cards that I've been given, and they flip out nicely and they are quite fun. So I could write my own little note there if I wanted to embellish more, and I've got this writing space here. Okay, I've got a little bit of sandpaper here, and that might be fun just to distress some of it. Alright, I'm just bringing in my old gesso, see what's left in here. Just going to use my finger, and I'm just going to put some smears and just really age this. I want it to look like old worn wallpaper going over anything that's a bit raised. Just quite fun little process there, because this will bring it back to something that you can write on and not be too overpowering with the colour. It's quite a nice way to distress things. Going along the bottom there will give me a muted colour that I could then use to write with. So this is all dry. There's a few little raised bits there where the paint went on and it has ruffled up some of the paper. So to tackle that, just going over it very lightly again with the sandpaper. Mute that out. And then just darken down those edges. So I just blended that away there. That worked because there's gesso. It dulls it down. If you don't like that, you could use an antique linen maybe, or you could use a vintage photo. But because I've got pink and grey seem to work quite well. And we've got to imagine that we're only going to be seeing one half of it. There's a little bit scuffed up from using the sandpaper, so I'm just emphasising it really. Here we're only going to see one half of this now, and then the other half will be further back. And that's really sweet. Right, lovely. Okay, so we've So we've done a nice stenciled border. That looks great today. Coming over, we've put another border on here using the napkin paper, distressing it with the gesso, the ink and the sandpaper technique. That's great. And then here we've created a tuck and a pocket. So now we can add in little bookmarks and ephemera, and then maybe some letters or note paper. And then when I want to write in this journal, or I want to do more to this journal, I could then maybe collect some ephemera and things, and I've got places to put it. So it's all really nice. I might have wanted to use this further on in the journal, so I'm a little bit not sure whether I want to put that on there. But I think if I use a Fabri-Tac glue, I can peel it off if I change my mind and need to use this as a belly band or something. So I'm just going to put a little blob of glue front and back, and then take these pieces that I've got here and just create a quick tab. This is on a shiny magazine surface. In fact, let's just do it this way so I can blend it in. So let's just blend that in, get rid of the white background. Nothing wrong with a white background, but this is a grungy, eclectic, vintage style journal, so I am just going to lose the white so it looks more aged. I'm just going to put a smear of the gesso on here, because why not? Just put a smear of gesso just to mute some of that modern day writing. I like the house there, that's awesome. Love the house and the lighthouse. So this was a 4-ply tissue, which is really thick. So I'm just going to take a bit of the tissue, take a bit of matte medium, and then I'm just going to add that in there just to mute down some of that lettering. So this is a very modern shiny bookmark, and if there's something on there that you're not keen on, it's a really useful tool to be able to use your napkin. You can mute something out, you just need a bit of white paint gesso, or even if you get a paintbrush, you can use a bit of household emulsion as well on there. So that's useful. So the white gesso comes in useful, definitely, for things like that. And then we can add some more stain on it or whatever. We could push this a bit further if you want. We could even put a little bit of ink on there like that, and then add some water and allow that to move around, because it's a reactive ink, so it's quite fun to then get the colour drips or the colour to move about, and then that looks like a real wet weekend down on the coast. Oh, there we go. That's just a really cool effect to bring in age spots or something where you want to really weather. So I love that. That's really brilliant. That is so nice. I'm going to put that in there, and then we've got that to play with. Yeah, it's coming together. There's probably more that I want to do. So there we go. This eclectic, shabby chic junk journal is coming together with its own little vibe, and it's going to just happen with whatever scraps I'm given. We'll just make it work. And then you can see some interesting techniques that have been used here just to create something from nothing. And these were altered cards, so they could be playing cards, and then some decorative paper, a little bit of lace, some pretty images that you cut out of a book or a magazine, digital kit that you might have, some book page there, lovely to add a sentiment. And this one says remember to play, and this one says let your light shine. Fantastic little mantras to take forward today. So let your light shine and remember to play. And that's exactly what we're doing here. That's what junk journaling's all about. And I hope that you have picked up a few little tips here of how you might take forward a few pages in your journal and just relax into the task ahead as a wonderful way of processing what's going on for you and unwinding from it all. Book in that time for you. Okay guys, so thank you very much for joining me here today. Do please like and subscribe, leave a comment below if you thought that was fun, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.